What's up guys, today I'm coming back at you with another face-to-face video. Haven't done one of these in a while, but today I'm going to be talking about the psychedelic stigma and how we want to change the psychedelic stigma and wake up everyday people to the benefits of psychedelics so that one day these substances will be legalized in some form so that the everyday people will have access to the benefits. And the reason that the psychedelic stigma today is the one that it is because the common people, they lump substances like LSD and mushrooms with actual bad drugs that'll probably ruin your life, like heroin and meth. And it's not just the everyday people that do this, it's also the FDA that does it too, because LSD is listed as a Schedule 1 drug, and so is heroin and meth, so that puts LSD on the same level as heroin and meth in the FDA's eyes. So that's also contributing to the psychedelic stigma. The goal is to get people to not lump these substances with actual bad substances. That is why the psychedelic stigma that exists today is the one that it is. And we can't really blame people for this because they were raised in a schooling system that tells them all drugs are bad and to never do drugs. They're probably brought up in a religion that tells them not to do drugs. They're also most likely raised by their parents that tell them not to do drugs. And it's also just reinforced by like everyday people who also share the same idea that all drugs are bad and we should never do drugs. And that's groupthink, and we all know how powerful groupthink can be. So when it comes to breaking the psychedelic stigma, we want to be leading by example. Nothing is going to be more powerful than people like you and me having these experiences, integrating them, changing our lives for the better, becoming more actualized beings, and letting everyone else around us see that change. And then just when we talk to them, we contribute part of our change to psychedelics. Nothing is going to be more powerful than that when it comes to opening up people's minds to psychedelics. So basically the first thing we want to make sure of when we are advocating psychedelics and trying to break the psychedelic stigma is that we're not advocating these substances as end-all be-all cures to your problems, because they absolutely in no way, shape, or form are that. We need to be thinking of them as tools, not cures. They are not cures because the substance itself does not solve your problems. They put you into a very introspective headspace that can give you insights on how to solve your problems, but the substance itself does not solve your problems. To solve your problems, you need to integrate your experience, and for that to happen, you have to go and do that under your own power. The psychedelic does not make you have that power to do that. So, and another thing is, we do not want to be acting like a prophet when it comes to breaking the psychedelic stigma, because as we know, psychedelics can be very insightful into the nature of reality and into the nature of the self, and it can lead us to pretty intense revelations. And this gets all the way into the concept of religion, which is a very touchy-feely topic to many people. Many people are not open to changing their ideas about religion. And if you're preaching at them like a hippie, talking like stuff like you are God, my consciousness is infinite, and because of that I can never truly die. If you're preaching stuff like that, many people are just going to put you into the hippie category, especially older people, which are the people that run our country. We don't want people to be putting us into the hippie category because the concept of hippies inside many people's heads is one of a person who is very far from actualized, just kind of rejects all cultural and societal norms, contributes nothing to society, and is very lazy. And they also have this concept that they're always tripping balls all the time and doing drugs all the time. And we don't want to be put into the hippie category, because when we're advocating psychedelics and trying to break the psychedelic stigma, if we're put into the hippie category by the people we're trying to convince, that is going to make them discredit us, make them not see value in what we're saying, and will most likely only further solidify the notion of psychedelics that they have inside their minds. So because of that, I think it's better that we lead by example and change our lives personally for the better, rather than preaching these substances as a way to see the truth or something like that. Because, like I said, religion, very touchy-feely topic, and people are going to think you're crazy if you're preaching what seems like nonsense to them when it comes to psychedelics. So it's much better to advocate these substances as tools to better your life. And another thing about psychedelics is, like I said, they break down constructs. A lot of times when people break things down to constructs, especially like on a societal level with societal and cultural constructs, people can completely discredit them once they've broken it down to a construct. And this is what leads people to becoming like very disillusioned and very conceited when it comes to society. And it can lead them to kind of just like saying, fuck this, just fuck everything, fuck society. I want nothing to do with this. I'm just going to live my life on my own terms. I'm not going to conform to society. I think this way of thinking is very selfish, because you are rejecting society because you're saying I'm rejecting society because it does not serve me and I cannot obtain any value from it. When you do that, you are not helping humanity in any way, shape, or form. You're only doing it for your personal benefit, which is very selfish. And the way I view it is that we're all part of the collective. Really, we're all one big family here, and people fail to realize that. And we need to be accepting society. We need to accept society. We need to accept the good and the bad of society. Because remember, the goal here is breaking the psychedelic stigma. We want the everyday people to wake up to these substances, realize their benefits, and reap the benefits from them. And if we're just rejecting society and saying, fuck everything, fuck this, that's very selfish, and that's not the way to go about it. Because the system that has manifested itself today has been the result of myself and you behind that screen and every human that's ever existed trying to live the most ideal lives for themselves and also the others around them. And in the process of everyone doing that, that's the reason we have the system that we have. And, you know, sadly, we have things like war, poverty, and racism, wealth inequality, which is a result of people trying to live their most ideal lives because they stomp over others in trying to do that. And that sucks a lot, but if we're trying to make the world a better place, reduce suffering, we need to accept the bad as well as the good, and we got to work to change that. We need to be repairing society, not rejecting it. Rejecting it, like I said, very selfish. So the better way to go about it is to repair it. And what we're trying to do here is repair society so that they are more accepting of psychedelics, and we can integrate psychedelics into society so that people are attaining benefits from them. And also, I said earlier, lead by example. We want to be leading by example. Nothing is going to be more convincing to the everyday person than watching someone around them change themselves and then contributing that change to psychedelics. So actually, the reason I myself got into psychedelics in the first place is because of someone who was very successful and seemed like a very actualized person preaching these substances, and that person was Joe Rogan and people he brought onto his podcast. At work, I just put on his podcast in my headphones, it'd be on in the background, and people he brought into his show, they seemed like very trustworthy, very actualized, very successful people I could trust their word. And these people were talking about their experiences on psychedelics and preaching their value, and that opened me up to realizing that maybe these substances actually have value. Maybe I would benefit from trying them. And beforehand, I had the textbook notion of psychedelics that pretty much all people had. I thought that I lumped LSD and mushrooms with actual bad drugs like heroin and meth, and I'm like, yeah, I'm never gonna do that stuff because drugs are bad. And with people like Joe Rogan and people he brought into his podcast, they gradually changed the psychedelic stigma for me, and I was open up to the possibilities, and that led me to trying a psychedelic and led me to making this channel. And hopefully I myself am leading by example, and you guys are hopefully attaining value out of my content, and hopefully I'm playing my role in breaking the psychedelic stigma. Yeah, that's really all I got to say for you guys today. Just to wrap it up, lead by example. Don't have these amazing experiences on psychedelics that give you valuable insights and don't integrate that. These psychedelics are tools. Use them as such. They can create such immense change in your life. So lead by example. Don't reject society. Repair it. Like I said, we're all in one big family. We're all in this together. And if we're going to reduce the suffering of humanity and make the world a better place, we need to accept society, the good and the bad, and we have to work to repair that and not reject it. Rejecting society is very selfish. So yeah, that's really all I got to say for this video, guys. If you haven't yet, subscribe, leave a like, drop a comment, do what you have to do so the algorithm promotes it so more people see it. And that's really all I got for you guys today. Have a great day and peace.